The reason why setting this routine can give you motivation is because you can know that as long as you follow that routine, you are pretty much guaranteed to improve. What's up everybody? Chào các bạn và chào mừng các bạn quay trở lại với podcast Slow and Clear của What's Up English. My name is Carter, and in this video, you are going to learn 3 ways to increase your motivation to learn English. These tips can even work if you're living in Vietnam and you don't use English in your day-to-day life, because I think that is around 99% of you. 99% of the people who watch this podcast are Vietnamese and living in Vietnam. There are some viewers who are in the USA or Japan, Australia, Canada, and some different countries. And if you are in those other countries, then these tips can work for you too. Before we begin, if you want to improve your vocabulary and pronunciation, then don't forget to check out my product, The 1000 Most Common Words. This is a PDF with the 1000 most useful words for daily communication, and each word has the IPA transcription, so you know how to pronounce the word, an example sentence in English, so you know how to use the word. That example sentence also has the Vietnamese translation. And most importantly, there are audio files for every single word where I say the word and then there's a pause so you can repeat the word to practice your pronunciation. And then I say the sentence. And I say everything slowly and clearly so you can listen to the word, practice your pronunciation, and learn useful words. So if you're interested in that, it is only $79K. The link is in the description below. And if you do purchase it, thank you so much, because it helps to support this channel so I can keep making content for you guys. And also, thanks to everyone who has already purchased this product. And thank you to everyone for watching my videos and for liking, subscribing, commenting. I appreciate all of the support from everyone, so thank you so much. Okay, let's start this podcast with a personal story about motivation. So when I was in Canada, I had to study English from grade 4 to grade 12. So I spent 8 years studying French in school. But in grade 12, when I took my last French course in school, I only got a 50. In the West, a 50 means 50%. So it's like I got 5 points. If I got 1% less, then I would have failed. So I just barely passed that course. And that was because I didn't really have any motivation to learn French. Because I didn't have any motivation, I just did the bare minimum to pass the class. And I'm lucky that I even did that. So many of you can probably relate to this for English. Maybe when you were studying English in school, you didn't have much motivation. So you didn't do too much, and maybe your grades weren't that high. But for learning Vietnamese, I only spent a few years studying, way less than 8 years, and I was already able to achieve a much higher level than my level in French. And that's what makes having the motivation so important. the good thing about motivation is it will help you in the beginning stages to get to the intermediate stages. But after you get to the higher levels of English, where you can read books, understand TV shows, and you can enjoy English more, then you don't need as much motivation, because now it's fun. And now you can just watch a TV show or watch a movie, watch a YouTube video, read a book, and then your English will just get better and better and better without you even trying. But in the beginning, when studying isn't fun and you don't understand anything, then motivation is extremely important to get to the next level where you can start enjoying English. Because it's in the beginning stages where most people give up. They try to learn English, it's just too hard, it feels impossible, and so they give up. And so having motivation in this stage is really important. Okay, so with that being said, let's get to the first way to improve your motivation. And way number one is to create a heaven and hell scenario. Now, I know saying heaven and hell is a bit extreme, but I'm using those words because they are extreme, and I want to help you remember this technique. So first, let's create your heaven. Your heaven is 3 years from now, and you have been studying English, and now you know English. Imagine you could, make friends in English. When you travel, you're able to talk to the people around you in English. If you go with a group, maybe some of your other friends don't know English, so you can speak English on their behalf. Also, if there's an English TV show, you can watch that. So that is your heaven, okay? 3 years from now, after studying English, that's your heaven. Now imagine your hell. So your hell is also 3 years from now. And again, please don't get offended. It's just an extreme word to create the contrast. But your hell is 3 years from now. You haven't been learning any English. In 3 years, your level is still the same or maybe worse than it is now. And you can't do the things I just mentioned. When you travel, you feel insecure and not confident in your English. You can't understand the TV shows, and you can't really communicate with foreigners, whether it's for fun or for work. Okay? So that's your hell. And maybe you're totally okay with that hell. And if so, that's fine. I'm not saying, if you don't know English, that's like hell. No. I'm just trying to help you imagine the two scenarios where if you did learn English and if you didn't learn English. When you imagine this heaven and this hell, it can be really useful because you're being pushed and pulled at the same time. What I mean by this is your heaven looks really attractive. So you're being pulled into your heaven. Hello there. Your hell is unattractive. So you're being pushed away from your hell. So it's like you see your hell, you're like, I don't want to go there. You see your heaven and you say, that looks great. I'm going to go there. So when you imagine that, that could give you some motivation to say, you know what? I'm going to learn English because in 3 years, I want to be in my heaven. When I was learning Vietnamese, I used this trick because I had a feeling I would stay in Vietnam for many more years. So I imagined 3 years from the beginning of COVID, which is when I started learning Vietnamese. 3 years from then, I was thinking, if I still don't know Vietnamese and I still have this disconnection with the people, that was my hell. And then my heaven was being able to socialize, to talk to people, to enjoy my life so much more in Vietnam. And my hell was not knowing Vietnamese, feeling embarrassed for being here for so long and still not knowing Vietnamese, not being able to understand anyone or talk to anyone. For me, my hell was very powerful to get me to start learning. And now that I'm at the point where my Vietnamese is good enough to communicate with people and understand a lot of what they're saying, I feel really happy that I made that decision. So now you might be wondering, well, Carter, of course I want to get to my heaven, but how can I do that? So that brings us to way number 2, which is to set a routine. A routine is simply something you do regularly, like every day. To set a routine, all you need to do is choose a time and an amount of time to learn English. So for example, let's say you work during the day and you're free at around 8:30 at night after dinner. So you choose that time. At 8:30, I'm going to learn English. Now let's choose for how long. This depends on you. This depends how much time you have and how much mental energy you have, because working makes you tired, school makes you tired. We only have so much energy. So what I recommend is you start with something small, like 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. So again, you choose this time, which is 8:30 in the evening. I'm going to study for 15 minutes from 8:30 to 8:45. And the reason why setting this routine can give you motivation is because you can know that as long as you follow that routine, you are pretty much guaranteed to improve. And knowing that you're guaranteed to improve will make you feel more excited about learning. And again, it doesn't have to be for too long, 15 or 20 minutes. And then once that time is up, you can stop and do whatever else you want to do. You may think that, 15, 20 minutes, it's not really enough time. But what I've found is that if you actually sit down and focus on just learning English, like just listening to a YouTube video like this podcast for 15 or 20 minutes, it's actually not that short if you're actually focusing. Because I think most people overestimate how much time they actually spend learning. Maybe they'll watch one video for a minute, switch to another one, watch a bit, and then get distracted, go on their phone. And then it's been 30 minutes, and then they think, I just studied for 30 minutes. But in reality, you studied for maybe like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and did other things in the rest of the time. So if you actually focus, do nothing else but learn English for 15 or 20 minutes, then that amount of time will give you a lot of benefit if you do it regularly. And also, if you study for a short amount of time, then chances are you won't get burnt out too fast. Because if you set your time really high, like, you know what, I really want to learn English, I'm going to study for 2 hours every day, Some people can do this and they're successful, but not everyone can do this. Probably most people can't. And if you're studying for 2 hours a day, there's a good chance you will feel burnt out and tired, and then you will stop studying. So in my opinion, it's better to set a smaller goal, like 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, but do that every day and stick with it. To me, that's better than setting a big goal, getting exhausted, and then quitting. It makes it so you're less likely to stop your routine. You're less likely to get very tired and exhausted. So just try it out. You could do it right now. Choose a time and choose an amount of time that you will focus on learning English each day. And now you might be thinking, okay, well, what do I do for those 15 or 20 minutes? And that leads us to tip number 3, which is to make your learning simple and convenient. What I mean by that is when it's time to learn, you won't have to think about what you're learning. You just click a button or you press something on your phone and you're learning. There's no time thinking, oh, should I do this or should I do that or what should I do? It's like Netflix, right? When you open Netflix and you spend an hour looking for a movie, and then after that time is done, it's too late to watch a movie, so you just close Netflix, right? This is why it's super important to make it convenient and simple. So how do you do that? First, you can make your learning content easy to access. If you're on the computer and you use a browser like Safari or Chrome or Cup, whatever one you use, they have a bookmarks bar, okay? So in your bookmarks bar, create a folder that says Learn English. And now in that folder, you can bookmark things like YouTube channels or websites where you can read books, whatever English content that you enjoy or want to learn. So when it's time to study, you don't have to think about what to do. You click that folder and then you just click anything in that folder. For example, if you want to practice listening, then click one of the YouTube channels. If you want to practice reading, then click one of the book websites. So that way, it literally takes 2 clicks to start learning, and you don't have to spend time thinking about what to do. In the description below, I'm going to put links to 5 YouTube channels, and I can't say exactly how many, but I'll find some book websites where you can read books for free. Those will be in the description, so you can simply go there and then add them to your bookmarks right after you finish this video. Now, if you only use a phone to study, you could do the same thing, but put these links in like a note file and then put that note file on the home page of your phone. So if you are on your phone, you want to learn English, you simply open it, open the note file, and choose one of those links, and you can begin learning right away. And this will give you motivation because you know you don't have to do any thinking. It's really easy to access. And when 8:30 or whatever your time is comes, you just open that folder, click that link, and you're learning English. Okay, so to quickly recap, first create your heaven and your hell for learning English. Then set a routine of when you will study and for how long. And then make a folder that you can click and start learning in 3 seconds. So guys, if you want to learn 5 more specific ways on how to learn English, then click the link here think here. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.